stock price goes down when there's good news and up when there's no news or bad news. But today, as a shareholder and a long-term investor and an investor in the company and not the short-term stock price, for me, I like what we have here. Today we have, I'm going to illuminate everybody that doesn't know about this already, we have a new catalyst in the form of basically government reimbursals, to my understanding, happening on, and the decision for that, to my understanding, I'm not an expert on this, but I'm going to go over the details with you. Essentially, the catalyst is going to be happening on the 28th of this month, July. So that is going to, and there is essentially proof of this. We're going to go over that along with the PLA codes being effective soon. That does actually play into the proof for this, and the proof is pretty indisputable, but we're going to go over it anyway, along with the business expansion and the very weird and peculiar action that's been going on with the job listings and the amount of them and them like coming in and out like that. I don't know what's going on there, but we do have one clear extrapolation to make off that. And then we've got several more pieces to increase the academic praise through papers and studies and journals here and publications here. These are good, and actually there is more evidence, to believe it or not, there is even more evidence now to believe that there is a higher consumable revenue during quarter two, and even a higher sales. So we're going to go over these three papers there, along with this. I mean, there's no other way to say it. This is a bullshit article. That's the only way to say it. I gotta be frank there. Weak fundamentals prove there's no reason to buy Bionano Genomics. We've seen these articles before. We know their game. We know, okay, they look at one little thing. They neglect like half of what's going on in the stock. Half the time they don't, I mean, all the time they don't know what's going on in the stock. And you can tell if you just read this, which unfortunately I did. I'm going to spare you most of the details, but we're going to debunk some of the ignorant and very idiom-like points here, if you can call them points. They're more like a count. They're more like just a proving that this guy is paid off and manipulation proof. We're also going to go over the price action and technical analysis and what I'm doing, my portfolio, my holdings, did I add, did I sell? It's Saturday, Sunday. It's Sunday. I can't sell, but we're going to show the portfolio anyway. And I would never sell if you're new here. I would never sell. So, spoiler alert, that belittles the point. But nonetheless, here's the catalyst. This is what everyone wants to know. So this meeting, this CMS public meeting on Medicare Advisory Panel on Clinical Diagnosis, that is pretty key. It's happening on July 28th and July 29th, to my understanding. Basically, if you go down here, optical genome mapping is one of the things that they're going to be talking about and deciding whether or not, to my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but they're going to be deciding whether we get Medicare reimbursals for the Sapphire use in institutions. All right, so that is a key, and we've seen Eric a couple of times has talked about the PLA codes. He talks about it in a not very friendly way to the casual investor, very esoteric jargon that he likes to use. But based on my rough understanding, rudimentary understanding, he's talked about in the presentation that we've seen and in the earnings call and other times as well in quotes, I believe, about the PLA codes leading to government reimbursals and insurance companies as well, insurance coverage of the Sapphire. And then obviously, okay, what does that mean? I mean, I feel like we are going to get FDA approval. I feel like the company wants to get FDA approval one of these days, and you guys know my synthesis on the 5 large clinical studies and my theory about them actually being evidence for it. That's why they're doing it partly, but nonetheless, this is going to help sales. FDA approval would help sales a lot, but if we could get the Sapphire becoming reimbursed by the government and by Medicare, and when it's used, that's beautiful, right? That's absolutely beautiful. And then you've also got the insurance coverage. These two things would be huge, and this, the PLA codes, these are becoming effective October 1st. Remember the Praxis Genomics ones, and then these ones right here, the Augusta optical genome mapping, Georgia esoteric, whatever. Okay, both of them and all the ones with optical genome mapping, those are going to be helping as well. Those are becoming effective October 1st. These are things that are going to increase the sales. We've already known there's like 13 sales, and there's already been 5 confirmed, like 100% confirmed sales of the Sapphire, not rental agreement sales in quarter two that we know about. And then there's a ton of others. There's 8 other ones that are not confirmed for sure. And then there's a couple others. There's a lot of others that I haven't actually researched. There's a high chance it's more than 15. But anyways, that is the catalyst that we got. So that's July 28th and 29th. That's when this meeting is happening. Right? Ape language. Brandon, I didn't understand any of that. What does this mean? Essentially, you're looking at this little meeting deciding whether we're going to get coverage by the government. They're going to be deciding that, and if we were to get either of those things, that's going to help the price a lot. That's going to help the sales, right? Ape language for the ape language. It's good for the stock and it's good for the company. And although the price might not react, this can essentially only be a good thing for us, pretty much. So as a shareholder, you like to see it. Okay, now the jobs here. This is basically, we have 27 results now. We had 22 last week, if I remember correctly, or 21. They've been doing this really weird thing where they like will left and right. They just flip. They just take stuff off, take it back, put it back on. I don't know what the hell's going on. Yes, of course, somebody commented the other day and they're like, Brandon, you know they can make up stuff here, right? Yes, I'm aware of they can post fake listings. You know, they don't have much incentive for it, but still they technically could. Yes, it's true. But the clear trend here is that they're hiring and they're expanding the business. They've got plans for lineage and growth. They've got plans for product launches. We've already went over the proof for both of those things. They're on the channel, and that's a trend, business expansion. All right, now with these publications here, if you look right here, the date, received date 22nd of April. You know, there's a chance that they could have done the consumables and used the Sapphire and everything. And let me go ahead and show you the proof of optical genome mapping being used. Okay, it's right there. All right, a study shows that optical genome mapping and long-read sequencing have significant potential, yada yada, right? Okay, we already know the proof there. Now, what is interesting here is we look at the date that I just showed you. If it was received on the 22nd of April, the consumables and the actual volume and the samples and the genomes being analyzed, this stuff probably happened during quarter 2, right? So quarter 2 is the start of April to the end of June. All right, so there's a high chance that some consumables, if not all of them, and the Sapphire sale or rental agreement, if any of those things I mentioned, if they're going to be happening, it's likely that those happen within quarter 2. It's likely, right? Not for sure, but it's likely. If they received it then, and they probably used Sapphire before, that's evidence to say maybe there's more consumable revenue in quarter 2, and that would add to the bullish and base case and bull case revenue projections that I show you all the time. If you know what I'm talking about, right? I'm sure you probably do if you watch the streams. Now, this one was received 1st of February. Now, that's obviously first quarter, so, you know, that's not really good. But what I want to say, we've seen, and look at the accepted date here, June, July, accepted July 1st, available online July 20th, right? This one was just published online a few days ago, right? Same with all of these. Almost all of these that we're going over today, all of these were released to the public very recently, and I want to go and make the extrapolation that the academic praise here has had a clear trend, just like the business expansion. The business expansion has been, I mean, it's been there. We've seen growth in the business through pretty much every metric that we investors can find and look at before the earnings, before they actually tell us if they've been growing or not, what the hell they've been doing, slacking off, or actually getting them sales, getting like we think, right? The trend here is that there's more academic praise. This means more sales, domino effect, but also means already more sales have happened, because if there's going to be so much more academic praise in the system must have to be used more. So it's good all around. It's good all around. And that's as simple as it gets. All right, now this one right here, this is July 2nd, 22nd. We already covered this one, right? But that's what I mean. There's more academic praise, and there's so much evidence for it, and there's been more last week even than I'm forgetting, I'm sure. So I'll leave it to that for that article right there. And then we got this shit, right? That's what it is. All right. I mean, this guy, I think this guy's getting paid off. That's as simple as it gets. Now, if we look down here, the worst, the blatant and overt telltale sign that he doesn't know what the hell's going on is that he says he tries to be, and I'm just going to go over this. This article is absolutely horrible. If you've watched this channel and watched any videos, I'm sure you can debunk everything that he says in this article, or at least most of it, right? But I'm just going to go over one horrible thing that he's done to himself here, which is essentially he's proved that he's a hypocrite, or at least ignorant in some sense with this point right here. So he says BNGO stock, some good news, right? Now, the Russell 2000, this was a while ago, right? This was in late June. This was like more than 20 days ago. We have seen countless sales. We have seen the CCO. We have seen the CBO acquisition. We've seen the PLA codes. We've got the COI lab confirmation. We've got new nanonozzle evidence, new nanonozzle patents. We've got, I already said this kind of, but plethora of evidence to believe that the consumable revenue and the sales and the rental agreements are going to be good this quarter. How about this for good news, right? This was June 30th, and if you scroll down here, the management is comfortable with the consensus revenue estimates. Is that not good news? What about the fact that we're on track to get the 5 large clinical studies, on track to get the data out before the end of the year? What about the assays for the amniocytes and the cheek swabs? Those would be amazing. We haven't heard anything about that. What about the latest 15 installments being clinically driven and commanding higher sample volume? These are all quotes from the company. This is one of the last things that we've heard from the company. This was after a recent investor meeting with the company. This analyst talked to them, and he's still bullish. If that's not good news, I don't know what is. So you already know he's cherry picking what news he wants to say. He's not giving you all the good news. He's just giving you, and this wasn't even, this is like the least significant news, the Russell 2000, out of anything we've gotten the last few days, the last few months and weeks. No, it's not. It's not that big, and the reason is because this doesn't have to do with the company. It has to do with the stock more, right? We are worried about the sales and the long-term outlook and what they're doing and when they're working, right? As opposed to what the stop price is on the day, right? We are looking at the company and the Sapphire sales. That's what we're paying attention to. Looking at the price action here, there's nothing like super screaming out to me on the charts that I need to cover it. But I will say that our chances for the inverse head and shoulders pattern that I was talking about kind of going down. We needed to go up a little. Here, let me draw that a little bit better so it actually makes sense. There we go. Okay, we needed to actually hit roughly this, $677 mark before plunging down to, 580 again, and we're already almost at 580, and we're supposed to be, this is the time where we break out of the neckline and then move up to the price target, which would be around $8 to $9 somewhere, or maybe 770. But somewhere in that range, we got rejected very prematurely. So that's not looking good. Something that is looking good, however, is the stochastic indicator in the 4-hourly. Now, typically in the past, you want to buy. You want to buy when you're oversold, and it timed this one absolutely perfectly. Essentially, it timed this one. If you look at the past of this indicator, every single time, even if you do a day trade, if the 4-hourly stochastic indicator is super low and oversold, you buy. And I know I've made this argument before, but the fact is, even though we're in the downtrend here, short term, we are in oversold territory right now, and that is a buy point. And the fact that we're making a higher low, barely, right? 539 was our last one. Now, hopefully, this is going to be the bottom, around 580, 588. It looks like that may be setting up. We'll see. Obviously, at the end of the day, it just mostly depends on high growth. But with that being said, the news, there was actually pretty significant news over the weekend, so I wanted to go over that with you more today as opposed to the technical analysis. Now, there's the portfolio. Yes, I did add a couple more. I obviously, you guys know I'm not selling BNGO ever, but I did buy some more UVXY because I'm getting increased. As more time goes on and the market keeps going higher, I become more scared about the valuation in the broader markets and the entire market. But I'm not saying there's going to be a crash, right? YouTubers, market crash, the clickbait, all that shit. I am legitimately worried about it, but that's not on a whim. I've said for a long time I'm fairly bearish on the broader markets, but that's a whole other rant. Midterm to short term, not long term, obviously. No, absolutely not. But with that being said, there's the portfolio. Thank you all so much. It's not finished price. I will see you all in the next one.